All right. The last video was kind of cut short abruptly. I'm sorry for that happening. So I'm just going to pick up where I left off, which is at New York. On page 51, it's that bottom paragraph. At one time, New Netherland separated English colonies to the north and south of it. England, who was at war with Holland and Europe, sent 4 ships into the harbor in New Amsterdam in 1664. Dutch settlers, fearing British cannons, refused to fight. Governor Peter Stuyvesant surrendered the colony. Under British control, New Netherland was renamed New York. Fort Orange became Albany, and New Amsterdam became New York City. Pennsylvania. William Penn founded Pennsylvania for the Quakers, a group of Protestants who opposed war. Elsewhere, colonists had just taken land from the Native American Indians, but Penn negotiated peaceful purchases. He gave Pennsylvania a written constitution that limited the power of government, provided a humane penal code, and guaranteed many fundamental liberties. Maryland. Lord Baltimore started the colony of Maryland across the Chesapeake Bay from Virginia as a haven for England's Catholics. Delaware and New Jersey. These territories were also taken by the English from the Dutch in 1664. Later, both became separate colonies. The Carolinas. The Carolinas were established for economic reasons. The colony was formed in 1663 when King Charles II gave land to 8 nobles. The nobles hoped to make a profit by attracting settlers from Virginia who could grow tobacco for sale in Europe. In 1712, the Carolinas were divided into North and South Carolina. In 1729, North Carolina was made into a royal colony. It became known for its naval stores, tar, pitch, and turpentine, made from pine trees. South Carolina became a colony of mostly large plantations. Landowners purchased enslaved Africans to serve as field workers. Charleston became a major port, shipping rice and indigo, and for receiving slaves. Georgia. This colony was established for social reasons. James Oglethorpe formed the colony in 1733 as a place for imprisoned debtors and convicts sent from England. So why did the colonists come to the New World? Well, the colonists who established the first English colonies braved the dangers of crossing the Atlantic Ocean. The ships that they came on were small and crowded. However, their destination was a strange and unfamiliar land with primitive living conditions. So why did they come? Well, political reasons, economic reasons, other economic reasons, economic and social reasons, and religious reasons. And we'll talk about that right now. British monarchs encouraged the development of colonies as new sources of wealth and power. They granted charters to groups of businessmen like the Virginia Company who offered to help the colonists settle in the New World. Also, based on the success of Spain, the first colonists believed that the gold and silver existed in great abundance in the Americas. These early adventurers came to the Americas in search of the precious metals. Colonial settlements presented new opportunities for merchants. The proprietors who owned the Carolinas encouraged people to come. Many colonists came to obtain their own land. Most people in Britain, Ireland, and the rest of Europe were pheasants, or tenant farmers, who occupied small, overworked lands and were paying very high rents. In America, free land still seemed plentiful. The settlers did not recognize the rights of Native American Indians or understand the use of their lands. Most of the first settlers were given free land by the colony or were able to purchase land cheaply. Later, many colonists came as indentured servants. A colonial landowner paid for an indentured servant's passage across the Atlantic, and the indentured servant then promised to work for the landowner's plantation or farm, usually for a period around 7 years. Once the debt was paid off, the indentured servant obtained freedom and began saving money to purchase their own land. Most colonists had faced difficult lives in Britain, Ireland, Scotland, or Germany. The menace of European wars served as an important reason to leave for many settlers. They wanted to get away from the horrors that the wars brought to their lives. They also came to the Americas to escape poverty, political turmoil, famine, and disease. These problems in Europe led to the Great Migration. Between 1629 and 1640, thousands of European men, women, and children migrated to the Americas. More than 40,000 of them moved from British colonies in New England and the Caribbean. They believed colonial life offered new opportunities. Protestant groups, just like the Pilgrims and Puritans, came to the Americas to establish their own communities where they could worship God in their own way. Catholics, Quakers, and Jews later came to the colonies seeking freedom of worship. Now, if you would like, you can continue reading through the concept map and the chapter study cards on your own. From here on out, it's a lot of just making sure that you've gone back through and highlighted everything that you need to. Please, 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 please let me stress how important it is for you to make sure that you've got this entire book read, because if you don't, it's going to hurt you like severely tomorrow, as well as for the test that you're going to be taking in a couple of weeks. So with that being said, I hope to see you tomorrow with some knowledge on this book, and yeah. Thanks, guys.